Fresh week, last week, heading into ASOTU CON. Oh my gosh, boy, it's going to be on fire. But today we're talking about who is and isn't responding to Lee's, yes, Cadillac considerations and Mario Kart for senior citizens.
Everywhere I go, the people really want to know who I is and who I be. They stop and
You know what? One thing that I've learned is that
banana peels.
senior citizens begrudging on one another. Let me just say that. Like, you got nothing else to think about sometimes than like
The worst place that you want to be is in a senior citizen home area driving, right? Because you're going to get some angry looks. That's just the way it is.
It's yeah, I know.
I'm going to be one of those guys one day. I'm telling you.
Just nothing to care about, but like who's cutting you off.
Yeah. Hey, I don't, this is the vibe that I was feeling this morning. If you just listened to the pod, just a reminder, we do a video on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and we have this like 30-second countdown that if you just listen, you never get to hear. I apologize for that. But that countdown, the very first time I ever heard the music of that countdown was the morning of full day one ASOTU CON last year.
Really?
And yeah, so I don't think we had used it beforehand, and I hadn't heard that drum line beat.
Oh, okay.
And so like that's what
up.
that energy is especially reminding me of. This week, right?
Yeah. Well, look, we've talked about it ad infinitum for a long time, and now 1 week from today, our team will be
descending,
and some will be there already, but we will be arriving on site. I'll probably be in the car right now, maybe in Baltimore, south of Baltimore, north of Annapolis, at the Live Casino Hotel, where we will be having the third ASOTU CON 2024, and I can't say it enough. I've never seen energy toward an event like this, and not just energy, right? Because like you can talk about energy, but substance. The people who have been signing up, the dealers who have been signing up, a lot of which I've never met before, which gets me so excited because they are going to be welcomed into this community of people who are committed to being the very best dealers, the very best industry partners in the industry in all areas. Not just in culture, not just in marketing, but we're talking about technology. We're talking about recruiting and hiring. We're talking about fixed operations, mobile service, sales models, customer experience, ROI, business objectives. Brian Benstock is going to light this place on fire on Tuesday afternoon.
Wednesday.
He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Is it Tuesday? What after? Oh, Wednesday afternoon. It's Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, no.
50. I'm getting a little bit. We're getting ahead of myself.
I've been explaining it real quick before we get to the show. I've been explaining it like this to people. That when you get to ASOTU CON, even if you've never met anybody else there, there's this kind of like way down in your gut feeling that everybody in the room kind of sees the world in a similar way, or at least with the same like perspective on why to care about the things that they're about to care about in all of the sessions. And that's an important differentiator. And when you look around the room, you're going to see like-hearted, like-minded people talking about things. They're going to challenge each other. It doesn't mean that everybody agrees on every single aspect of how to do business, but it does mean that their perspective on why they believe that way comes from the same core, deep beliefs. And so watch out for that feeling if you're coming.
Good one. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world. We've all been in countless sessions where you find yourself in there and you see something presented or someone talking, and maybe you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of a nice idea. But when you get in a room with people who are like, let's learn the next step and are motivated, that's when things actually change. Because like 98% of the sessions I've ever been a part of, I've just walked out and immediately forgotten about them. 98%, maybe 99%, but it's just true. And everybody knows it's true.
Maybe 99%.
Because it's you for maybe 99%. I want to thank our friends at Reynolds and Gubagoo for being the presenting sponsor of ASOTU CON this year. Means the world to us. I think it means the world to the industry because they're going to walk away from this and they're going to remember this one and implement the things in their store. So thank you so much for helping us. We have a lot of other sponsors, collaborators to talk about too this week. But first, we have to talk about some news today.
Yeah, speaking of implementing things in their stores.
Snap.
Segue into the first story on a Monday. Let's go.
I have a feeling there are going to be some managers walking into some offices if they see this story on Yahoo or hear it on this. So the Napleton Auto Group has secured its top spot for the third consecutive year in the 2024 Pied Piper PSI Internet Lead Effectiveness Study. So they're leading the way in responding to online customer inquiries, which is what the study leans in on, Berkshire Hathaway ranked second. Herb Chambers and Ken Garf tied for third. So basically, the study ranked 18 major auto groups, evaluating their responses to web-generated customer inquiries via email, phone, and text within, it's not a high bar to set, within 24 hours. I mean, look, if you're past like 4 hours, like they've asked the question to 3 other people already. Fran O'Hagan, CEO of Pied Piper, says, quote, top performing dealerships focus on their behaviors, but they also carefully track what their website customers are actually experiencing. Napleton excelled with 84% of its dealerships scoring above 80%, highlighting their efficient and personal customer engagement. They said 80% of those got personalized, thorough responses is basically what it says in the study. The industry leading average score rose from 6 to 66. That's the average, 66%. From 58% in 2023 and 55% in 2022. So we're moving in the right direction. Ganley Automotive showed the most improvement year over year at 21%, 61 to 74, meaning some manager walked into some office when they heard the study
already
last
had
year.
the conversation. Yep.
While Serra Automotive and Berkshire Hathaway also showed notable improvements, the 4 groups that saw declines.
Row.
Lean in, everybody. This is
or lean back. One of the
lean
two.
back or leave the building. Hendrick was down 5%. Penske was down 8%. Morgan was down 10%, and Victory down 15% from their performance last year.
Here's the interesting thing about this one. This is large groups, right? So anytime that you take a large group and you're trying to scale processes across that group, it definitely gets difficult. So I don't want to, discount the fact that yes, a large group scaling processes to replicate over every single store gets tougher and tougher.
Extremely.
The smaller groups,
especially when you're acquiring at the speed you're acquiring.
Exactly. All of these rooftops are acquiring at a rapid pace right now. So, we'll start with that as like the qualifier that I have on this. But we know that as an industry, that our innate ability to follow up well has never been at the top of the pecking list, right? That we've always been looking at this as a place where we can improve. What I love about this and what you can go look through here is some of the questions, some of the ways that they look at this and the questions of like how often did the group's dealership respond by phone call to a website inquiry was one of the questions. Did the dealership email or text an answer and also respond by a phone call? So you can go through this survey and start to look at, okay, what questions should we be asking of our processes? And it's just a really simple way. It's early in the month. It's a great week for training. Why not get in, take this as impetus to go, hey, whether or not we're 87, 67, 100, whatever, there's always room to improve.
Yep.
And so that's what I would look at this as the highlight on.
No, without a doubt. COVID didn't do us any favors, and we talk a lot about getting back to the basics. And it's really a demotivator to be very thorough and attentive to web follow-up when you have 3 more customers behind the one that you didn't follow up on. And so you start cherry picking leads like, this is probably not, and you start making all these decisions when in reality, like it's, you have to like work to serve and work to sell. I was on LinkedIn and, Andy Elliott puts out a lot of content, and he's been calling dealerships and like seeing what the salesman does. And he just gives them a really kind of like lackadaisical, hey man, I'm just calling to see if
just
this vehicle is here. Yep. Yeah, it's a little too much. And the guy just is like, yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much the price. And he was kind of like in his response, and he hangs up the phone. He was like, how about this? And he gives a response to one of the best lines I've ever heard. Hey, we've never been able to not come to terms somewhat on price. He said, we buy these cars. We're not a museum. We buy these cars to sell them, not to keep them. I was like, that's a pretty funny line.
That's a classic line. Yeah. We've been training that in auto for years and years and years. That's back in the day. I heard that one. Oh my goodness.
It was so old school.
I can't believe that's still in sales training. We're not a museum.
It is. I tell you, if someone said it to me, I would laugh, but then I'd be like, no, I really know I'm being sold.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is this, like we know we have dealers that are like, no. If someone calls and inquires about a vehicle, it's like, that car should be sold to that. We should find the reason for that.
I say that there's one like really simple baseline thing that you can start to change your culture with is stop calling them leads, start calling them potential customers.
There you go.
How many potential customers came in through the internet?
I like
how
that
many
so much.
potential customers came in through the showroom today? Not how many leads or not how many ups, but how many potential customers.
That's so good.
And
that language
totally
will
will change
behavior.
the frame of reference for everything you do.
I love it. Speaking of changing the frame of reference for everything you do.
Yeah.
Segue.
All right, I have a trigger pad that I'm about to play in a minute. You know which
so
one
excited.
it is.
Yeah.
Cadillac is rethinking its all-electric future despite earlier commitments to an all-EV lineup by...
No way.
Year 2030.
Yes.
What?
That's true. They got on the 2030 train and they said by the year 2030, we will sell nothing but electric vehicles, which gets more and more challenging as people stop buying or slow down buying electric vehicles. Cadillac's VP John Roth announced last week that both electric and internal combustion engines will coexist beyond 2030, offering the, quote, luxury of choice. Great brand way to put
What
that.
a brand play.
What a way.
What
That's
a brand play.
I'll call that a beautiful backstep. The company's earlier stance going fully electric by the decade's age has shifted and been influenced by slower than expected EV market growth and customer preferences. How about that? In 2020, they pushed dealers to invest heavily in infrastructure. We remember this. And about 20% of Cadillac dealers opted for a buyout instead of complying with the electric requirements.
Man.
Now it's a little more lax. John Roth continues on saying, we're always listening to the customer. We are still on strategy of offering an all-EV portfolio by the end of decade, but we're going to listen to the customer and let them be our guide. That's our answer.
Yeah. You know,
Now.
I wish we could, I wish we had a trigger pad for I told you so, because there's, in our 700, almost 800 episodes, I feel like we've had
had a
that
couple.
moment a few
We've
times.
had a couple. We don't like to say I told
look,
you so.
Every single OEM right now is doing this. What did you call the backstep? A beautiful backstep?
It was a beautiful backstep. No,
a beautiful backstep. Everybody's doing this little.
No, his
beautiful
was
backstep.
elegant. It was on brand.
Yeah.
It was on brand.
Yeah, like a
Luxury of
luxurious
choice. The luxury of choice.
a
Choice is the
luxurious
ultimate
lateral
luxury.
leap, whatever you want to call it. But we're gonna see more manufacturers just start to realize that, hey, the dealers that are close to the customer, should have a major voice in the way that the progress of the brand goes.
It is funny what happens when you let the customer decide what they want to drive. They will tell you what to make. It's crazy, but it's true. All right.
Speaking of what we all want to drive,
I would drive one.
Segue.
over the last couple of years, we've covered electric cars, electric motorbikes, the Cybertruck, whatever that is. And now coming to a retirement community near you,
Shout out the villages.
the Avenir has introduced the Tectus all-wheel drive electric mobility scooter, specifically designed for seniors, with a third wheel on the back there, featuring a dual motor all-wheel
Third wheel
drive
on the front.
top
Yeah.
Yeah. Third wheel on the front, 2 wheels in the back, 1 wheel in the front, tricycle style. The dual motor all-wheel drive will boast top performance in any weather or terrain.
Yeah.
It also offers an enclosed cabin with modern comforts such as AC,
amazing.
heating, backup camera, and GPS. And it stands out with wireless charging and versatile cargo options in the rapidly growing $7.2 billion mobility scooter market. The president of Avenir, Aldo Biacchi, said the Tectus can take you anywhere, anytime. There's nothing quite like it. Now seniors can travel in style and comfort without the need for traditional charging. The future of mobility scooters is here. Now, this is the most fun, though.
Yeah.
If you don't get the daily email, you got to get the daily email. And here's why. Because our writers, Chris and Christy, just have a particular way with words. Listen to this. This is the kind of like recap on this story. It says, while we're looking for untapped markets, have we considered making a real Mario Kart? Sell electric go-karts, put rejected weapon ideas on them, add a lane to all interstates for combat racing. Imagine the service lane opportunities. Like, so good.
The scooter looks great. I mean,
It
looks.
does.
Brian Ortega just commented that I'm so close to having one, which is true, but not because I'm that old. But I mean, you think about the sheer number of these things, and the only options really are a golf cart or like the old
That's
school.
it.
What do they call those things? The rascal. Remember those things?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep, yeah.
No, but
yeah,
this,
I mean,
this,
you like
it looks like very practical, especially
is
if there's just one or two people. I think it's just a one person, or is it 2-seater?
I think it's a one person. It's
Which
like it's a scooter replacement. You know?
Yeah, I mean the climate control. There's the climate control. There's a lot more capability, like the cargo capability. It's got to feel safer. The front opens up, especially in these retirement villages. I mean,
Look, I'm telling you, Ponte Vedra Beach Club is about to be littered with these guys.
heck yeah, and you can just rent them out. Like even think of like a park. You know how like you go play golf, you get a golf cart, little park, rent these suckers out. I don't know, a lot of fun. I would definitely want to drive. What they don't talk about are the important facts like top speed. How fast does that thing go? It looks like it could go really fast.
It does, yeah. It's
Right?
got these all-terrain tires that are like a little bit oversized. They're great.
Shocks, pegs, lucky. I don't know. Mobility. Steve Greenfield should talk. Steve Greenfield will surely talk about this sometime soon. Not because he's buying one, because he talks about mobility. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fun to cover. It's Monday. You got a whole week ahead of you, and it's the last week to buy your tickets to ASOTU CON.
Don't miss it.
ASOTUCon.com. By the way, if you're an industry partner, I can't think of a more qualified group of dealers to spend a few days in a room working out some problems with. I'm just saying.